It kind of goes without saying, but there will be spoilers for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so if you're sensitive about spoilers, then now is my warning to you. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a Japanese role-playing video game developed by Monolith Soft and published by Nintendo for the Switch console in December 2017, as part of the long-running Xeno series and a sequel to the 2010 Wii title Xenoblade Chronicles. In this piece, I will be exploring how this game fits into the circuit of culture, covering production, regulation, censorship, representation, identity, and consumption. I will also be highlighting some of the issues these areas face along the way. The first area we will cover is production. The game's developer Monolith Soft is a first-party owned studio based in Tokyo that was acquired by Nintendo in 2007 after their remaining shares were purchased from Bandai Namco, where they previously worked on the Xenosaga and Baten Kaitos series. They also have a division located in Kyoto that assists Nintendo in the production of many of their in-house developed titles, such as Animal Crossing and The Legend of Zelda. Development began in 2014 during the later stages of production of Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Wii U, returning to the more linear, story-driven structure of the 2010 original compared to X's emphasis on open-world exploration. While the art styles of the preceding games were designed to appeal to Western audiences, Xenoblade 2's character designs look closer to those found within Japanese manga and anime, with some believing this would allow the game to visually age better over time due to less emphasis on realism. Since its initial release in December 2017, Xenoblade 2 has demonstrated to be a critical and commercial success, receiving generally positive reviews and selling over 2 million copies as of November 2020, becoming the most successful title to ever be developed by Monolith Soft. A story expansion named Torn of the Golden Country was released in 2018 as part of its post-release downloadable content, serving as a prequel that explores story events that precede the base game by 5 centuries, expanding on the backstories of characters such as Jin and Mithra. Now let's talk about the regulation and censorship surrounding this game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is rated 12+ by PEGI, the regulatory body responsible for rating video games in European territories, due to non-realistic violence towards human characters and the use of mild swearing and offensive language, meaning it is legally available to individuals aged 12 and above. Violence is depicted in a way that remains suitable for this age range, as there is little to no blood present, which is evident in an early scene where the antagonist Jin impales the protagonist Rex through the heart without showing any actual injury detail. Xenoblade 2 also has sexually suggestive material and innuendo present, an example being a cutscene where Nia refers to Zeke as a one-eyed monster, a euphemism for the male reproductive genitalia. This was done for comedic effect, as it highlights the other character's shocked expressions in response to the insult, and when Rex is about to question what it means, Mithra slaps him before he can finish. In a different scene, the characters are discussing ways they can generate enough profit to reach a financial goal, and when Pyra offers to lend her assistance, Azurda responds by remarking, "Nothing illegal, I hope," before Rex comically hits him in the back of the head. These are subtle jokes that younger audiences might not understand, and are more likely to be appreciated by older audiences. An interesting point that I found about the latter example is that it was changed from the original text. In the Japanese version, Azurda instead states, "Don't tell me, your body?" which is a more direct reference to prostitution compared to the English translation simply implying it, indicating that the localization team had to make this change to make it culturally suitable in English-speaking territories. According to John Story, cultural studies insists that the meaning of something always depends on context. Moreover, rather than simply insist that context is important, it insists on multiple contexts, knowing that an object of study will look very different in different contexts. In addition to sexual references, Xenoblade 2 also features lots of religious imagery within the world building of Alrest. A significant example of this can be seen in the form of the 7 titans representing the 7 deadly sins, such as Argentum symbolizing greed, where the antagonistic Chairman Banner exploits the war depicted in the narrative for his own financial gain, and the Empire of Morardain representing pride, being an imperialist nation that chooses to colonize other titans like the Gormott province for their own resources by force, instead of peacefully requesting assistance. Certain religious terms had to be altered in other languages, often shifting them from Christianity to Greek mythology. The Divine Architect, who serves as Ulrest's equivalent of a godly figure, is referred to in Japanese as the God of Genesis, while Pyra's original title, the Holy Grail of Heaven, was changed to the Aegis. Something else that I found interesting in the area of censorship comes in the form of the changes that were made when the game's deuteragonists Pyra and Mithra were added as playable characters in the 2018 crossover fighting game Super Smash Bros. Ultimate in 2021 as part of its ongoing downloadable content, a game which is also rated PEGI 12 like Xenoblade 2. As the ESRB, a regulatory body used in Western regions, is structured differently compared to PEGI. Smash Ultimate is rated E10+, while Xenoblade 2 is rated T, partially due to female characters wearing outfits that expose large amounts of cleavage. The character designs had to be altered to keep Ultimate's rating at E10+, so both characters' outfits were adjusted. They were given tights to cover their legs, while Mithra's previously exposed cleavage is no longer visible. I think this decision was understandable, as it would have been problematic for a game's age rating to change after its initial release. I will now cover representation and identity. We can apply the use of semiotics analysis on the game's front cover in a few ways, identifying denotations and connotations within. The protagonists Rex and Pyra are shown standing in a green field staring at Uriah, one of the game's many titans, which is blocking the view of their destination, Elysium. Rex staring in the direction of Elysium indicates that reaching it is his goal, and Uriah combined with the clouds obscuring his view demonstrates a sense of curiosity, as the narrative establishes that none of the characters know what Elysium is like. If we were to remove Uriah from the cover, the meaning would change, as Elysium is no longer shrouded in mystery. The logo's use of red complements Pyra's colour scheme, as she is an integral part to the story. The general scenery also takes up most of the image's space, making Rex and Pyra look small and insignificant in comparison, which supports the grand scope of the vast world the player explores during gameplay. In terms of identity, the world of Ulrest manages to create a sense of in-game cultural diversity with the use of real-life regional accents and dialect from across the world depending on which titan a character originates from. For example, characters that inhabit the Empire of Morardain like Morag are given strong Scottish accents, while those from the Kingdom of Uriah such as Vandam have traits of stereotypical Australian dialect. Characters that belong to the Nopon race like Tora are also given their own speech mannerisms, speaking in broken English and frequently using the word meh throughout their dialogue. The various Blade characters and members of the Torna organization mostly have American accents, which gives the player an easy way to distinguish the difference between Blades and non-Blades. The portrayal of female characters within Xenoblade 2 has received mixed responses, with many believing their character designs to be hypersexualized, with Pyra frequently being highlighted. Leif Johnson from IGN states in his review of the game, "1 minute you might be listening to one of Rex's crew telling one of the world's most powerful beings she should act like a blushy crushy maid that every man is looking for. The next, you'll be sitting through intentionally awkward shots of that same character's chest." This raises the ongoing question concerning female representation in video games, a medium that is often believed to be dominated by a hetero male audience, and whether Pyra's design and portrayal should be considered hypersexualized or not. However, it can also be argued that Pyra is a demonstration of a strong female lead, due to being more integral to the story than Rex himself and possessing character qualities perceived as complex and unrelated to gender roles, subjectively fitting under the criteria of a femme fatale. Jennifer Malkowski states, "The femme fatale strikes a bargain between industry and feminist priorities. Sexualized enough to give a presumed hetero-male audience its presumed desire for women in games, the femme fatale also exudes the strength and complexity of character that many players probably care about more. This idea can be supported by Pyra's own character arc, in which she seeks her own destruction due to being a powerful entity, believing her existence to be a danger to humanity, on top of her lifespan lasting long enough to collect countless painful memories along the way, but her journey with Rex allows her to regain purpose in living. Through this, it can be interpreted that Pyra has more to her character than just her physical appearance, having believable flaws that she learns to overcome. When it comes to consumption, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is an example of a media product that can be consumed actively, due to belonging to the video game medium. This is because there is room for customization when it comes to how the player chooses to approach gameplay, such as switching out different Blade characters to be used by their drivers, the term given to the playable characters, and being given the choice of which ones they would like to use as the game progresses. whether this is during real-time combat or field exploration, where certain stats tied to each blade may be more beneficial than others, getting stronger under different conditions related to progression, encouraging players to use a wide variety of blades to accomplish various goals. It can also be consumed passively, as content within video games can be exposed to a wider audience through the internet, a notable example in this case being YouTube user Chugger Conroy's Let's Play series, where he documents his entire playthrough in video form and offers his opinions and tips to those playing alongside him, as well as encouraging outsiders to pick up the game and play it for themselves. On the other hand, this can also be interpreted as active consumption, as it involves a fan of the game creating something new from it, and getting his own established audience consisting of over 1 million subscribers engaged with the product. As supported by John's story, fan reading is characterized by an intensity of intellectual and emotional involvement. The text is drawn close not so that the fan can be possessed by it, but rather so that the fan may more fully possess it. Only by close engagements with its meaning and materials can fans fully consume the fiction and make it an active resource. Pyra and Mithra's inclusion in Smash Ultimate has also proven to have contributed to the way Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is consumed. This is due to the game's assets being represented in a faithful way that stays true to the source material, such as including select music pieces from the game's soundtrack and coming with a playable stage based on the game's setting, meaning that unfamiliar players are given an insight of what to expect from the world of Alrest, therefore potentially grabbing their interest. It has been shown that this addition has contributed to an increase in sales of Xenoblade 2 over 3 years after its initial release in December 2017. Overall, we have managed to explore the many ways that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 fits under the circuit of culture, as well as identify some of the issues it faces along the way. As a result, we can infer how versatile this method of analysis can be for media products like this, and how each element of the circuit applies to it. So, there we have it. That was my essay. I hope you've enjoyed listening. Do you think I deserve a good grade on it? Let me know what you think in the comments. Also, if you've enjoyed your time here, feel free to like the video and subscribe to my channel for more of the best Nintendo content that you can find on the internet. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see you later.